Yo, what is up, guys? Evolutionary EVs here, back again with another video for you guys. So today we're gonna be doing some mono teams for soccer spirits, and I'm gonna be, of course, using my mono outdoor team as an example. So we're gonna be going over a key couple of subjects in this. So the strategies that you can use, the players that you want to put in, of course, legendary players, because legendary players can be a key factor in how you build your teams, especially as I can. As you can see, I'm using Choi and Jiho, and I'll explain all of this in a second. But before we get started, if you guys enjoy the video, if you find this helpful, leave a like, subscribe, and all that stuff. I also stream on Twitch, so if you guys want to go there and just check that out, then I'll leave the link in the description. We do Soccer Spirits, we do Need for Speed Heat, we do Sword Art Online, Owlization, Licorice, all that fun stuff. I'm thinking about doing some Pokemon Sun and Moon. I'm not Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, and a bunch of other fun games, maybe some Nuzlocke again, and all that stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Now, first things first, there's no like meta to the teams that I make. So all the teams you've seen me make so far, I've not been basing them off the meta. I've kind of just made these teams based off all the characters I like. But as far as combining their abilities to make one really solid team, is definitely a somewhat a strategy to that, and we're gonna go over that. So, for first and foremost, me personally, this is just me. Just choose a bunch of players that you like, and try to combine them. But one thing you want to make sure you do, especially with mono teams, is you want to make sure that they all mesh well together, so that they all have their roles and that they all connect. Like, for instance, the rules of the front line for me is you got two players right here. These two are able to buff, of course, my passer and my striker. So Yonghee's ability to be able to, where's this active at? Gosh dang it. It won't show as active. Okay, well, let's move over here. So yeah, his active skill will be able to increase attack power by 130 and pass effect by 130, which is insane, I might add. Really, really insane. And then he also has the ability to increase, action speed and, of course, HP. So that's really, really nice. And, of course, Elaine also has the ability where she can buff my attack power, and she can also buff the crit rate of allies within the position, and she also has a good ability to increase pass effect and attack power within the position, which is really, really nice because Melissa is really good with that. And she also has an ability, if she really needs to increase inflicted damage by 30 and decrease defense by 20 of the designated enemy by 10 minutes. And she also has the ability to increase reflexes and decrease the incoming damage by 25 when being attacked. And she also has some Spirit Stones to help with that also. We're running Ignition Catalyst on her, so that increases pass effect. And she's also running 2 Pass Stones on her and a Steel Stone to make sure she can get the ball back. So Yonghee and her are basically after my character shoots, then if we don't KO them, these two, their job is to make sure that they steal the ball back. And with Yonghee's active, being able to increase attack power and crit rate, that's really, really nice. And of course, you got Elaine, which is really, really good at stealing and all that and decreasing defense. And then moving over to Melissa, her whole job is to make sure that I do as much damage as possible, basically. And she can definitely help out with doing that because she also increases pass effect and then also penetration, which is really, really nice. And then she also has decreasing penetration resistance and crit resistance by 15 and the enemy position by a pass, and then also increasing reflexes by 30 and crit damage by 40 of the ally players in position. Sorry about that. And then of course she also increases her own pass effect, action speed, and decreasing incoming damage by 20. She's just like one of the most OP passers in the world, which is why you're gonna be seeing her. Look at this. The technique is just off the charts. Like, it's maxed out. Her speed is incredible too. Power's, well, of course, power's not up there, but you know what I mean. Like, she's just really, really fast, really, really good, and she can even do counterattacks every once in a while. And you can see recommended squad here too, but that's just that. But other than that, my whole front line is basically just there to be able to keep the ball there and make sure that we get as many shots as possible. Now, moving over to my midline, we got Victoria, Erica, and Choi. So Choi's ability to be able to get to my front line and buff it is like basically why he's here. So he has the ability to power up himself, so that'll increase crit rate, crit damage, and passive effect by 50 on himself. And then to top it all off, he also has the ability to increase action speed by 50, type power by 75, and just power up everybody for 2 minutes with a pass. So that'll also increase the pass effect with this. And then he also has the ability to increase attack power and penetration and reduces damage took by 15% for 45 minutes when attacking or being attacked. So that can help keep the ball at the midline. and also increasing attack power by 25, reflex by 25, passive effect by 40, by 10 minutes just with an action. So he has a lot of good stuff, especially with pass effect and being able to keep the ball in line. And then on Taurus, he also has his final technique, which increased reflex. I need to work on this more, but he's kind of hard to get, so that's probably why we have that there. And then, of course, we have him customized with the decreasing pass effect of the enemy team, which is really, really nice. And I'll probably have to go over that later, but when it comes to, like, what you call it, when you get these characters to, like, customizing and everything, make sure that no matter what you do, you just choose one of these, because it can help out even if a little bit. Like, this one increases action speed, allies on the vertical line. It's just all good stuff there. But I'll go over that later. But we also got Erica here. Her whole purpose in life on my team is to make sure that the ball does not get to the back line and that she can counterattack and get stuff done. So with her skills, she's got, of course, the increase of max HP by 20 and penetration resistance of 10 by older players on the team. So I can help out my goalkeeper as well. And of course, she got protection MP, so it recovers HP by 20 when being attacked. And also, she has increasing crit resist and reflex and reducing incoming damage by 30. So she's just a huge tank. And of course she got the power up, which decreases the incoming damage by 20 and recovers 50% of the incoming damage later by 10 minutes. So her whole role in this is to make sure that she stays right there and blocks any attempts to gain to the back line. Now, of course, her stone build complements that with, of course, we're running double Unstoppable Inferno, which increases reflexes by 18 and crit resistance by 13. We're running 2 of those. And we're also running Holy Flash, which is increasing the max HP, and we also got co-op defense. And then last but not least, we're running Blessing of Mother Earth. So we're running, of course, I forgot what the stone is called before this, but we're running, is that what, Protection of Mother Earth? With, I think it's Stars Tears, maybe, I think on this. That's, I think, what I'm running on this. No, it's not Stars Tears, What's that stone that decreases damage coming from penetration to steals? I'm trying to think of it. I think it might be Crystal, hold up. I might have to look at that. Let me go to Spirit Stones, because I think I remember what stone it is, because I used 2 stones to make it, and it didn't matter which one I got, because either one was going to work. But hold on, I know it's an Ardor stone that I used. I think I still have like a copy of it too. No, I don't. Okay. I think it's Crystallized Crimson Jade that I used as a, substat. I think that's what I used. But you know what it is. Her whole purpose is to make sure that the ball doesn't get to the back line, and she also has a cooperation technique to help with that. So if the opponent has the ball and I am using Victoria on the midline, which I am, she'll steal the ball with her. So she'll take 14% of the cooperation player's attack power, and the max HP will not fall to 20 below. So really, really nice. I've tested it out so many times. It's really nice. And then of course we got Victoria. Her whole thing is reflect damage. So we got her Spirit Stone build with, of course, Flaming Bloom. This is a stone I used to use on Ronia, but she just wasn't cutting it, so we switched over to Victoria. So we got this. We also got double damage stones here, and we also got a penetration stone to make sure that she could be able to get to the front line. And then we're also running, of course, with Steel. So she's getting reflexes and decreasing inflicted damage by 70. She's also decreasing incoming damage by 30 and increasing crit rate by 40 and attack power by 30, which is really nice. We're also increasing at max HP by 10 and attack power by 10 within position for a crit hit. And of course, the best part about her, increasing reflexes within position by 50, which is really, really nice to be able to keep the ball where it needs to be, which is in the midline, so we can break through the front line and be able to get where we need to go. So basically, my midline's whole purpose is to be able to break through the front line, be able to hold them off if they have the ball, steal the ball, all that stuff. And then last but not least, to the back line, we are running, of course, Death Queen. We're running Yuri. We're also running Jiho, and we're also running Angela. Angela's not completely done yet, but I have her back here because I'm still testing. So we'll go over that later, but I'll usually be using, Lucian, because Lucian has a co-op, I think, technique with Death Queen? No, he doesn't, actually. I think Death Queen has a co-op technique with him, if I'm correct. Hold up, let me see this. Yeah, so yeah, she has one with him, so you know what, screw it, we're just gonna move this out of the way. But my original plan, I'm testing with her still, so let's go ahead and just put Lucian there still. Screw it. Yeah, it doesn't mess with anything anyways. So, basically with this, I actually made my team go up all the way too, but that's mostly because he's holding a legendary unique. But with this team, basically the whole goal is to make sure that we can survive as many shots as possible and to break out of the back line. So all my characters for this have a lot of buffs that can help with that. So of course, starting off with Death Queen, she is a defender, so she's gonna be trying to steal the ball and be able to break out. And we have Spirit Stones for that, so we are running, of course, reflexes, crit resist, and we're also running double damage. For I think everybody in my backline is running double damage and at least some form of a way to break out of the backline here, if I'm correct. So yeah, double damage, 10 Ox's blood, yeah, and double damage, and I think we are running double damage, penetration, and we're also running this pretty unique stone on Jiho, which is going to increase the damage that enemies receive on the vertical line, which is really nice because that can help out with, of course, doing damage with Kyoko and what's called Choi. And she also has the ability, which is really nice, with her skill, where she can buff my crit damage, max HP, and incoming damage within position, and also increasing crit damage and penetration within the vertical line. So, vertical line being this, that's just more buffs from Choi and more buffs from Kyoko. Now, moving over to, of course, Yuri, her skills, she's going to be buffing, of course, the max HP and, max HP and passive effect. We're also going to be buffing attack power, and we're also going to be buffing passive effect and counter attack resistance. Now, the passive effect probably be really, really good at the front line. In fact, I don't know why people don't run at the front line. The reason I don't is because I have Yonghe. He's a lot better by doing that because he gives 130. He's just insane. Plus, he's really good at holding the ball. But moving over, we're also running, Death Queen with her skills. She's also got, reducing damage with Dark and Whirlwind players, which is really nice because we go against a lot of Dark teams. As you probably could see if you guys watched any of my previous Soccer Spirits videos, we go against a lot of Dark teams, a lot of Prestige, a lot of all that stuff. But moving over, we also got decreasing passive effect within position by 30, and we also got increasing max HP by 30 and counterattack resistance by 20 and attack power by 25 within position, which is really nice. So we got a lot of inline buffs, we got a lot of totems, all that stuff. And the one thing I made sure that I did is I made sure that I didn't have a lot of leaders. I made sure I had a lot of attackers and a lot of defenders. I only have 2 leaders on my team, which is Choi, and another leader, which is Elaine. If I had to put any legendaries in this team, and this is where the legendaries come in, the only legendaries I'd probably put in is most likely William, because he got buffed. He actually got a receiving pass effect buff, if I'm correct. Let's see, yeah, he got a receiving pass effect buff and also damage dealt. So he's really, really good now. He's not, garbage like he used to be. So I want to test him out with Kyoko instead of Kyoko, but he's not buffed, so that's why I'm using Kyoko, because Kyoko's kind of like the new best thing with that. And then, I'd probably take out Elaine for, of course, Axis, because he meshes really well with my front line, because he buffs it with, receiving pass effect by 1.5% and by 5% crit rate and penetration by 30, so he gives penetration, which is really nice. And that'd be also really good for William because he needs penetration because he has none. And then on top of that, he also gives, if I'm correct, where is he? Where is it? With a pass, he decreases the opponent's team's defense and increasing crit rate, which is really, really nice. And we also got increasing attack power by 60 and increased reflex and crit damage for every lost 5% of HP. So, not bad whatsoever. He's really good at the front line. I've gone against a couple of these guys and they're just really, really good. And then the last but not least one I'd probably take out for, as a legendary would most likely going to be Ign. And I put her as my goalkeeper. In fact, I'm actually working on her right now because I want to test her out. And I already got a Spirit Stone I want to use on her too. I need to change this most likely though, because I'm not going to be using a Whirlwind. It's going to be light, because I want to take the stone off of Lucian that I'm using right now and just move it all over to Ign. Because even though Lucian's good, he can't survive that many hits, especially from, stuff like, Cypher and all that. He's been doing me really, really well though, because of his active block, which is the only reason I really use him. Because if he didn't have an active block, I wouldn't be using him right now. I'd probably just still have Ign there, even though I have max power up Lucian. But because of his active block, he can really survive a lot of hits, and he got a decent amount of HP. Speaking of which, he as of right now, His skills are, of course, the active block, which will, decrease incoming damage and increase penetration resistance. I think he also regains HP too, which is a really good thing. And that's another thing that Ign has a problem with, and she doesn't have anything to regain HP. And the stone that I'm using right now on Lucian is Hope of Silverflareon with Star's Tears, and Star's Tears will increase defense and recover HP by 10. So not bad there. So if I was to move this all over, it'd be pretty nice to have that. And then Lucian also has the ability to increase max HP by 40 and crit resistance by 60. But he also recovers HP of the allies within position by 15 with the max HP first, and decreases incoming damage by 15 when being attacked. So he has HP recovery, and he also, when he's getting shot at, let's say my whole back line's dead, we block a shot, he revives my whole back line, which is really, really good. So that's another reason I like using him. And of course, he has a good cooperation technique with, Death Queen here, so that's always nice. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole thing with my team so far, and the way I built it. So, all these have a role. So of course, these three have the role of getting the ball out of my back line as fast as possible. And of course, you got my mid line, which is kind of buffing them all, and it's also being able to get to my front line and buff the front line. And then the front line's whole goal is to make sure I get a bunch of big passes off and be able to kill off whatever goalkeeper I go against, no matter what, and also be able to steal back the ball and just shuffle it back and forth with there. My current team does this a lot better because of the paralysis, which is why I use him. And honestly, if let's say, because I would use, where's it, Ronia? I'm not Ronia, Rudel, because she's OP as hell. But the thing is, she's not buffing my pass effect or anything like that, so it wouldn't really help that much. And it'd probably take me a little bit longer to be able to get my shots off and everything like that. So that's the only reason I don't use Rudel. Like, she's pretty OP. I use her on my Whirlwind team. I have a mono Whirlwind team that I'm working on right now, and it's a little bit better because I'm able to run, my 3-man front line, which all have a bunch of co-op technique. We also got some pretty good stuff in our back line as well, which, we'll go over that later. But just got a lot of good stuff going on with this team. I'm still experimenting with it. But the only reason I use Rudel up here is because I'm running a 3-man front line, and I'm able to use Rudel to the fullest extent because she also is really good with, where's her name? Evelyn, so not bad there. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, with mono teams, incorporating players and everything like that, just choose who you want. As far as mono teams go, like, choose some of your favorite players from that attribute and see if they mesh well together, and then edit the team as you go. I already told you which legends I would take out if I had them maxed out already. In fact, I used to use Shu on my team. He used to be one of my attackers on my backline, but he gets counterattacked a lot for some stupid reason. And it's mostly because it's active. He used to have counterattack resistance, I think, but I think they took it out and they put it in crit rate. No. Yeah, I think they put in crit rate or something. Hold up. I think it's one of the actives that they messed with before to where he's getting counterattacked a lot more, which is why I took him out. But he's also really good for, whenever he attacks, he'll buff. Well, not buff. He does give off a buff when he attacks. So actually, I lied about that. He does buff. Let's see. So recover at lost HP and recover action bar. So yeah, he does buff the whatever line he's in when he penetrates, and he also revives. So he's really good for global revive. But as far as that, he gets counterattacked a lot, which is the reason I don't use him right now. Especially with all these new players that we got going on right now, he's just not good at the moment. I hope they buff him because he's really, really outdated. He hasn't been touched in a long time. But other than that, like I said, just pick whoever you want. Kind of mesh your team together around that. Kind of get like what I was saying before. Kind of get your team meshed together to where they all have a role and are kind of connected. Also try and work with a couple of the cooperation techniques because those are really, really helpful. And like I was saying before, make sure that if you guys don't do this, make sure that no matter what, once you get them to 5, make sure that you hit this, and it'll give you a random stat. So that's really, really nice. And even though it might seem inefficient at first, it really could help out in the long game because, for instance, this will increase my steal by 5.8 within the position, all that stuff. And it's just really, really good to make sure you do that. But as far as mono teams are concerned, you kind of have to mesh your team together, find out what works. Because I would probably be able to explain this a lot better if they had chains. Because with the chains that they had before the update, it was kind of a little bit different and a little bit easier to explain somewhat in a way of what players you should use, because they had multiple players that you could actually use with the chains, whereas with this one they only have one and you can't switch it. So it's kind of a little bit more limiting, but you gotta work with it. But as far as mono teams go, kind of just work with the players you have, kind of choose some of your favorites, and then try and mesh your team around that. And as far as legends are concerned, if you have a way to power up your legends a lot faster, go ahead and do so, and then kind of mesh your team around that. So, like for instance, for me, when I first got my mono team and I was using Char, I built my team around Char and Lucian. So that's why you see a lot of the same characters from the same teams and stuff like that around them. That and because I like certain players. So other than that, that's pretty much all I gotta say. And in the next video I'm gonna be doing, we're gonna be basing my team off of my mono whirlwind. So we're gonna be talking about dual ace teams. So that's gonna be pretty interesting, especially since you could do a lot with that. But other than that, I'll see you guys later, and this is gonna be Evolutionary EV signing off. If you guys enjoyed the video, just leave a like, subscribe, and all of that. And we also do stuff on Twitch, so if you want to go ahead and join in on that, then we play Soccer Spirits on there. We do live streams with that. We also have Need for Speed Heat, and we also play Sword Online Alsatian Licorice, and I'm thinking about adding Pokemon Sword and Shield. So if you guys want to check that out, then go ahead. I stream every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and sometimes I stream on Sundays too, and that's usually around 1 o'clock. And I live in Washington, so that's PTSD, I think, PTD or whatever they call it. So yeah, whatever that is. I'm not bad with. I'm like kind of bad when it comes to the times, but you guys get the point. But I try to stream around 1 o'clock in the morning, which is a little bit weird, but I'm used to it, especially since I'm usually going at work for the majority of the day. So it is what it is. I'm trying to do some more morning streams on Twitch and everything like that, but for the time being, that's when we stream. So without further ado, I'll see you guys later, and this is gonna be Evolutionary EVs signing off. Peace. I'll see you guys again.